Hello and welcome to the Games That Made Us podcast. I'm Brent. I'm joined as always by my good friend Kirk. Say hi, Kirk.
Hello.
And we're joined as always by our good friend Benny. Say hi, Benny.
It's a new year and a new me.
I doubt that highly.
Nothing's going to change.
You know what's great about it is since we're recording this in 2024, technically both your statements are lies.
I'll give you a little inside baseball into the mind of Benny.
Jesus.
Everything I say is a lie, including that.
Oh no! This is when we find out that Brent's a robot. My head pops off.
Divide by zero, error.
A spring shoots out the top of my head.
And your ass.
Well, that's been there.
Oh, I can help you with that.
Okay. Maybe later.
Okay.
All right, let me get another rum and coke in me. So, welcome to Supplemental, the first annual Games That Made Us Game Awards from the GTMU guys. Games. Ease.
Are you proud of yourself right now, Brent?
Brent just had a stroke. He's twitching on the ground. We're not calling the ambulance because it's just too funny.
I just spray painted DNR on his chest.
Oh, yeah. So when you get to the hospital, if someone has awkwardly spray painted DNR and orange spray paint on your chest, they take that as writ and don't try and resuscitate you.
It's a perfect crime.
I run by and giggle and spray paint like a deer underneath it and say, it's actually Department of Natural Resources.
Let's be honest, it would be a dick. It would be a dick that you would draw on me. Yeah. So we thought it would be fun to do just a real quick supplemental, our game of the year. I don't have a clever name for it. I don't know if you could tell that from the part where I just sort of word vomited into the microphone. But yeah, so we're just going to go around. We're going to talk about our game of the year, why we picked it. Doesn't necessarily have to be a game that was released this year, but a game that is a 2024 game for us, whatever that might mean. And I'm going to pick on Kirk because he's looking at me, the motherfucker. Kirk.
Mm-hmm. Cut the part about the deer out. Okay. I'm just kidding. Well, now you got to keep it in. No. Sorry, I'm hungry.
That's why I had that chicken sandwich.
I'm hungry, I'm cold, and I'm in a cold garage with these strange men.
And they have zip ties and gasoline.
There's ropes on the wall, and there's blankets on the wall. It seems like it's meant to keep his sound down.
Yeah. You know what's funny is pick which of these statements were false, because most of those were true.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We need to get, like, if we ever have merch, we need to have like that word cloud kind of like shirt where it has like our most said things. One of them's like some sort of reference to this garage being a dungeon. That's gonna be one of them. Then of course dovetail, inside baseball, probably dick or penis.
Tiny pixelated boobies.
Boobies.
There's going to be a whole sentence just in line. It's going to be running backwards with a boner.
Yes. Oh my god. It goes off the bottom of the shirt and off the back of it.
David Wise.
Yes. Fucking dead man.
That fucking dead man, David Wise. Oh yeah. Oh, what were you doing here?
Oh, we're unlikable.
We were talking about games. That's what we do.
Yeah. Do we do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, it's either games or weird science experiment involving boners or killing somebody. So
yeah,
it's pretty accurate. Yeah. My game of 2024 was Balatro.
Yay!
Yep. I mean, I even bought the damn shirt and waited like a couple weeks for it to be shipped over from Europe, and I wear it.
My goofy indiness is spreading.
Yeah. That game took over my life for a while.
No.
Then I even got frustrated with you at one point because I was like, oh, what?
Why haven't you beat Green Steak yet, motherfucker?
And Brent's just like, oh, I just unlocked this deck of cards. I'm like, you haven't unlocked all the fucking decks yet? The fuck, man? Like, this was your game, and you talk about it all the time.
I play games to relax, not as a second job like you do.
I play a game and I just destroy it and then I move on.
No,
Kirk really does. He's obsessive about it sometimes. I really like Balatro.
Yeah.
It didn't become a brainworm for me the way it did for you guys, but it's solid. It's super fun. And like it looks incredible. Everything about it is just great.
And okay, so that was going to be my number one as well. Which I guess is in a Game Awards setting is good. But the other thing is like it's just got this whole aesthetic. I'm pretty sure it was Frost, but it might have been Yahtzee Croshaw. Somebody I was watching was talking about like it has like this between the music and the flickery CRT effect visuals. It has this effect of like staying up late at night playing Cards Against the Devil. That I really I like. It's real weirdly calming, but also like kind of vaguely ominous, and I love that.
Oh, it's super ominous. Like it's kind of moody and like it feels like there's stakes that don't exist.
Yeah.
To playing through it. I love the Joker mechanic, by the way. Like the
so
Jokers is great.
And in the same vein as like Vampire Survivors, it's very satisfying to get all the unlocks. I did finally unlock everything on. So this is how deep into this fucking game I got. There is an Android version now. You can go get that now. But within a couple weeks of release, a fan had like started a GitHub project to port it to Android. And so I actually have the APK on my phone and have since like a month after the game came out. And so I've been playing it mostly on Android the whole time. And so I did finally get all the unlocks on that. And it's just so satisfying that feeling when you play a hand and the screen starts to shake and you see the number go up and up and up as you beat the stake is really satisfying.
And the first time that like you've got a new deck and like your Jokers are different and like all of a sudden you've unlocked like the math to go to that next like digit of numbers.
Yeah.
And you see it hit and you're like the first time you go from like 10,000 to 50,000 is like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know why that would matter so much, but it does.
It does. Kirk, so like what's your favorite deck that you play as?
One of the first ones, it's I think the blue deck because it gives you the extra Joker slot, I think. Or it gives you
I think that's right.
It's either extra Joker slot or you get an extra I don't know. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the deck where you get an extra skip or something.
Yeah.
Or you get the skip. It's one of those.
It's one of the color decks right at the beginning. Yeah, because those all have like basically a status effect rather than, or like an inventory effect.
Or an extra deal or whatever.
And
It's one of those. I want to say it's the blue deck if my memory serves me. It has been a few months since I played.
Yeah.
And early... Oh, sorry.
Well, no, go on.
Early on, any extra of anything, like any extra hand or extra card or inventory slot is like the difference between success and failure, especially early on. So,
yeah, I really like the, I think it's called the Abandoned deck, the one that has no face cards, because there's a Joker that has a cumulative bonus for not playing.
Oh yeah,
Cumulative bonus for
talking about.
not playing face cards, and then if you combine that with some of the cards that let you change the suit, so that you can just be playing flushes every time, and have that cumulative bonus for not playing a face card every time. That gets to be really powerful, really quick. It's just such a fun game, and it's cheap, and it's great, and you should play it.
It has the exact same kind of utility as Vampire Survivors. Of if you crave a video game, you're not going to be able to sink in a 3-hour session in a game with like narrative or that needs a lot of dedication for some sort of progress. You'll be able to kind of scratch that itch a little bit just in in the interstices between the shit you're doing in your life. That's what I love about both of those games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do yourself a favor though, and do definitely before you do it as an Android game or as a like we're saying, like just a 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out kind of. Do take the time to turn the lights off, put some headphones on, and play it on a big screen monitor for a little bit, because it is a mood, and I really love that.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping at some point they would do kind of like they would add in little spooky aspects where because you can get so just lost in the game where you're not really paying attention to the background, but how freaked out would you be when all of a sudden you see like this weird silhouette staring at you while you're playing it?
Yeah, it's definitely like the potential for some serious like psychological horror there is there.
Mm-hmm. So one of my favorite tactics I use all the time just by default, and it may change up depending on which jokers come my way, is can't remember the name of the card off the top of my head, but the more you use a specific like match, like 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, or whatever, the more you use it, the more mult you get. Every time you use it, it doesn't go away. It just compounds over time.
Yes.
So I'll combine that with leveling up like 2 pair or whatever. And then at the same time, there's another Joker card where all cards that are played count.
Yeah.
I use the hell out of that. So so long as let's say I'm doing like 2 pair, I'm trying to abuse that. But at the same time, I use that card where every card I play counts. I'll always try to do like the 2 pair and then give a full hand of like 5 cards or 6 cards every single time, so it just fucking it blows that number up on both the mult side and the total count side. I use the hell out of that.
That's awesome.
I
think this game encourages the min-maxing is almost the point. Like every cheap tactic you can use, like that's like the Joker is almost like aesthetically like winking at cheating or being like subtle about how you're approaching it.
Yeah.
I think it encourages that, absolutely.
One thing that I think is really cool, and I actually saw a video on it not too long ago, was there's this, I think it's called like Game Design Lab. I'll have to look it up and I'll put it in the show description, but there's a YouTube channel that focuses on just like game design. And they were talking about how Balatro has a feature that seems like a bug or a flaw, but once you play it for a while, you're like, oh, yeah, it has to be that way, which is it doesn't show you the score of the hand that you'll play until after you've played it. And it's like, at first blush, you'd go, well, that's wrong. It should be there. But it's like, no, because you're dealing with such crazy numbers that it's actually better to have that moment of like anticipation and fear. Because, I mean, how many times have you gotten within a couple of 100 chips and you're like, God damn it, like I was so close. And it gives this card game the feeling of like almost like a JRPG kind of like combat system where you're like, I think I'm there, I think I've got this right, and then it resolves and you have that moment of elation or defeat.
Well, and some of them are so it's like kind of a time. Like time plays a factor too, where like you have the Joker that has the randomly turning number for the multiplier.
Yeah.
So like there are some that you literally cannot know because it's going to be determined when you can see the number spinning on the Joker all the time.
Yes.
Even when it's just in your hand when you haven't played, you can see the number, right? Doesn't it turn like constantly even when you haven't played your hand?
Yeah, it flashes through the different, and so it's whatever it lands
and it
on.
always, exactly. And it's always applying it when you play it. So like it's not like it's always like it doesn't seem like it's running a random number every time when you click the button that they could calculate to begin with. It looks like it changes literally randomly based on when you hit the button, not just
it is.
After. It's not a post calculation, it's a pre-calculation almost.
Yeah. Then going off of that, there's another another Joker where the mult is based off of how much money you currently have in your hand.
I love that
one. Use the shit out of that one too, and then combine that with every card you play, you get like.
There's also one
or like another mult or something.
There's also one that applies I think it's not a mult. I think it's a additional number of chips based on it's like 5 times the value of the cards in your hand. And if you use the egg Joker or multiple egg Jokers, where it goes up in value by, I think it's $5 each round you play. Mm-hmm. So then within a couple of rounds, a couple of stakes, you're going from, I'm adding 20 to my end to, I'm adding 6,000 to my, what I mean? Like, and it goes up really, really quickly. I love the egg.
Yeah.
Also, he just looks so dumb.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
There's so many things you can just abuse the shit out of in that game, too. Like some of the hologram cards will have like a full-on times 1.5 to your overall mult. But that can increase if you, like, every time you discard a certain number of cards or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can grow that to like a ×3 or ×4 and just really start blowing numbers out of the water. Yeah. And I just love the different avenues you can take. So even if you don't get the Joker you want, you can still play to certain strengths based on what you have.
And you start watching for patterns in what you're getting kind of organically, and then you kind of you have a couple sets of tactics that you always are going to go towards based on what kind of starts coming at you at any given time.
Yeah. And one thing I didn't utilize at first, but as I started like going to the higher stakes, something I started to actually utilize was like seeing which cards are still left in the deck, because the game will tell you that.
Yep.
And that will, like, if I'm really trying to, like, hedging my bets on a face card showing up or whatever, or a certain number or a certain suit based on, like, if I need to get a flush or whatever, knowing what cards are still left in my deck.
Can I even do it?
Yeah. Like, can I even do it? Exactly.
Yeah.
Or what are the odds of it popping up if I discard my entire hand for a fresh set of cards or whatever? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm certain it's coming across, but it's a great game, and I'm really fighting myself on not getting the Switch Special Edition because it comes with physical. I think it's 5 physical Jokers. And I'm like, I would frame those. That would go in my little arcade.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my number one pick as well. I'll have a game to talk about when we get around to me. But yeah, fuck yeah, I love Balatro. Benny.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about Sea of Stars.
Yes!
I love this game. Brent, so it came out in August of 2023. Brent gifted it to me for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
And so in December of 2023. And I got around to playing it in January of 2024. And it's just a gorgeous little JRPG.
Yeah, it is.
Homage to all the best entries in that genre from basically our childhoods.
Yeah.
It takes nods from Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star. Chrono Trigger is the big one.
Yeah. Mario RPG a lot.
Mario RPG has some too, for sure.
Especially the combat system.
You'll notice some, but yeah, you'll notice some major nods. It learned all the lessons, and it's a love letter to these games. And you'll notice that we have we've either developed or have always had some sort of an affinity for these games. I do think that Chrono Trigger is the big influence. I think it rests at the core of this game.
Yeah.
The environments, the character styles, the sprites, some of the attacks, some of the mechanics, the story has some elements of it as well.
Yeah.
You have, unassuming hero and death and resurrection, and it's just fantastic. One thing I think it does better than Chrono Trigger is insisting on a New Game Plus, and the New Game Plus actually being like a more core version of the experience.
I haven't gotten there yet, so.
And kind of like a secret ending, and I don't know, it's it kind of blew me away how good it was.
Yeah.
And it's quirky too, and it's got some little we've talked about like how indie games get to do whatever they want to do, and they're not like beholden to certain paths through game development and story, and like they can kind of exceed certain, like they can just be goofy if they want to be. They can be obstinate or kind of obtuse about certain like inside jokes, and like people don't have to understand them. And I love that about it. It's not a perfect game, but it's an extremely good game.
Yeah.
And I almost love that. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Kirk, have you played it? I can't remember. It's worth it.
Yeah. It's, yeah, I mean, and I love, yeah, I think there's something to that of like, it's nice to have some texture and some flaws to the game. You mentioned, having a heavy, inspiration from Chrono Trigger. They have
Earthbound too.
Yes, definitely. But Mitsuda, from the composer from Chrono Trigger, actually did a couple tracks for the Sea of Stars soundtrack, and the soundtrack definitely has that like Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross kind of vibe to it. And also, if you like this game, like talking of like Sea of Stars and the deep love and appreciation for retro games that Sabotage Studios, who developed the game, has. This is actually their second big release. Their first one is The Messenger, which is
I've not played it.
Yeah, it's very heavily Ninja Gaiden inspired. It's like Ninja Gaiden meets puzzle platformer, and it's really good, and it's really funny too, which Sea of Stars also manages to be at many points. So yeah, so I that's just a little plug. If you like Sea of Stars, go play The Messenger. They're very different kinds of games, but they both show that like that deep like appreciation of retro gaming culture that's like soaked into the fabric of Sabotage Studios.
Yeah, it's amazing that these ideas, the ideas that underpin this game, just like they persist and they stick around.
Yeah.
Because this game would be like, even like younger gamers could appreciate this game.
Yes.
Very easily appreciate this game. It has some modern sensibilities, and it looks like a modern game.
Yeah.
While like I always use this term, but I think it's an appropriate term, like learns the lessons of those earlier games. And so it's where was I going with that? I just had this idea that it's that kind of spans like kind of generationally ideas of how to make games. And that's great.
It's kind of like, I think it's a better game then, but I think it is similar to Cosmic Star Heroine in that it would be a great first JRPG for somebody who didn't grow up in the 90s, because it has, like you say, it has modern sensibilities. It doesn't handicap you in some of the ways that a lot of games from the 90s do.
Yeah.
This is it's a modern game, and it feels like a modern game, but it feels so comfortable. Like, it feels like a warm blanket for somebody who is a big retro gaming nerd to jump into. It felt like home right away.
Partially because of its proximity to and love for Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Partially because of that, but also because of its own ability to tell stories and be what it is.
Yeah.
This is one of the few games, especially in recent memory, that's basically brought me to tears a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's got some great story turns and story moments.
And great character building.
Yes.
Like, yeah, and I do like, because one of the things that I feel like all media sometimes suffers from is this like desire to make people complex, meaning unlikable in many ways. Yeah. And it's like, no, the characters in Sea of Stars you immediately like them. And and while they do grow and develop, it's always in understandable ways that you can empathize with.
Yeah. And I think that it's a bit of a chameleon of a game, because it fits in a bunch of different categories depending on how you approach it. For anybody who may like stagnate in Cosmic Star Heroine because it's that's a purely tactics-driven game.
Yeah.
It's about selecting your approach. It's purely turn-based. You're not worried about timing or anything. This game, Sea of Stars, can be played as a purely turn-based game, but it also has action elements.
Yeah.
And your reaction speed and timing and reflexes also can play an effect in battle.
Absolutely.
And so it's not required, but it also exists. It's actually a lot like, I don't know if you ever played the Sprint, but I'm sure Kirk played Legend of Dragoon. You know how like the attack mechanic of like timing your strikes in Legend of Dragoon dramatically improves like the efficacy of your attacks. Sea of Stars has almost the same approach to things.
Yeah.
And it's really satisfying in kind of the same way. So I think it would appeal to a lot of people, like a lot of different kinds of gamers as well. I just think it's it blew me away. I knew that I was interested in it before I ever played it, and figured I'd like it for what it harkened back to. But I think it blew me away just how good it is too.
So
it's beautiful.
I just want to take this moment to take a victory lap because I introduced these guys to both of their games of the year. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I love Sea of Stars. It's great.
30% off on Steam right now. Just looked it up.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
It's worth it.
It's absolute. It's fairly long too.
Yeah.
You're not going to waste money on a short game if that's a problem for you.
And if you'd rather pick it up physical, it plays great on Switch. That's where I played it, and it's nice little. This will probably be my last generation of collecting physical games, so I grab the ones where I can when I can.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's keep this short, Brent. What are you going to talk about?
So
and don't change it just because I said
Well,
Balatro. Like if it's then talk more about Balatro. It's supposed to just be a supplemental, anyways, bruh.
I was thinking
talk about your Balatro.
I was thinking,
experience.
regardless, we could make an honorable mention of Vampire Survivors.
Yeah,
What?
Vampire Survivors.
Oh, yeah,
as
okay.
an honorable
Yeah.
mention.
Well, I'll come back to Balatro. Let me just do two real quick like honorable mentions, things that I love. I don't know that I will do actually Vampire Survivors because Vampire Survivors is like a 2020. Is it a 2024, 2023? I don't remember. I've been playing it for a minute. But Animal Well is fucking great. Go play Animal Well. I was between Balatro and Animal Well, so I will talk more about Balatro, but I do want to just say, fucking play Animal Well. It's so good. I don't generally like Metroidvanias. They're not my genre. They're not my style. This one's fucking great. It's so good. It's so deep. And in the same way, one thing that I feel like has come across just in the games that I talk about is I love games that have hidden depth, where it's like, okay, let me engage with you in a short, compact, capsule-sized story that I can play through. I can, beat the game and go, I beat the game, yay! And then, see a credits roll and be happy. And then give me more depth. And Animal Well is so incredibly deep. The actual, straight up and down, the story mode, the main campaign is I don't know, 5 hours. It's short. But the game has incredibly, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's so much depth there. There's so many things. I heard it described as a Metroidvania, that it's everything's there from the very beginning. You can do almost anything you can do in the game, you can do from the start. You just don't know that yet. There's definitely items that you need to pick up to progress, but there's a ton of content that you won't see and you won't notice until you've played through. And
kind of sounds like it's got this whole Fez thing going on.
it is very much like Fez. That's a great comparison.
I'm looking at it on Steam right now. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Stunning.
It's been on my wish list, but it's just not a high enough discount.
It's right. It's currently at 20% off. It's $19.99. It's a little steep for what I'd be willing to pay for it at the moment. But it's absolutely gorgeous to look at.
And
right now. And it's overwhelmingly positive for like almost 20,000 people, almost 20,000 reviews.
The sound is incredible. It's incredibly atmospheric. It wasn't created in a game engine. It was all created in I want to say native C. And it's so
the developer hated themselves.
The game is 80 megabytes. The entire game is 80 megabytes. It's insane. It's one of those things where I'm struggling to put words to my feelings about Animal Well because it's just so insane that someone did this. I won't spoil it, but just I have to give an example so that I don't just sound like a crazy person. There's a thing that you can find in the game. And when you find it, if you mark all of it on a map, it writes a word. And if you use that word, you can unlock a puzzle. All of this is post the credits roll. So you've run by all the places where this thing is for 5 hours before you even think to look at it.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of insanity we're talking about here. It is, and yeah, it is gorgeous. So yeah, Balatro is my game of the year, but my shameless plug is fucking go play Animal Well. It's so good. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I said everything I have to say about Balatro, other than the best. So it's a cheap enough game. Do yourself a favor, get the Android app, and honestly, get the fucking buy the game once. The guy's doing fine. He's it's one dude, and he's sold more copies of it than like any other indie game in the last 10 years. Go buy the game on Steam, and then go get the GitHub packet thing that'll package it down as an APK for your phone. You do need it on your phone. Sorry, this is required reading. You need it on your phone.
You need an Android if you're an iPhone user.
Fuck you! Don't do that. Why would you do that? That's such a bad idea.
Also, even if you like iPhone, you can't anyway. So go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, and I love people are like, oh, we have emulators on iPhone now, and I'm like, really? Congratulations, catch it. Like, how is 2010 treating you? But no, yeah, do get it on Android because it's great. But yeah, get yourself a nice bottle of treat yourself. This is my request for you in 2025, listener. Treat yourself. Go get your beverage of choice. Turn the lights down low. Get some headphones. Light some scented candles. This isn't going where you think. I'm sorry. I promise.
No, he's definitely going to tell you to beat the shit out of your downstairs.
Mm-hmm. And put on Balatro.
Oh, that's not what he said.
Yeah, and just soak in that atmosphere. There's nothing better than 3:00 in the morning in a darkened room, just vaguely at the edge of consciousness. And
sanity,
and listening to that music loop in the background. I'll put it in here. It's so good, it's the best. It's the best game.
And their merch is dope too. I don't really go out of my way to buy video game merch ever. Even when I was huge into Pokemon in my younger years, I wasn't just out buying little Pikachu plushies or whatever like kids do. No. So as an adult, with more disposable income, and I know I can buy video game merch, I rarely do it. But Balatro, I like so much. Yeah, I fucking bought some of their merch, and
I found we were out shopping for the girls, and I found a Pikachu plushie that had a little stocking cap and little mittens on.
And that's fucking cute.
And I was like, no, Hazel needs this. This is... and Aaron was like, she already has a Pikachu. And I'm like, I know. And I was like, I'm either buying it for her or me. Yeah. So what do you want? How do you want this to go?
With Balatro, I bought for all of our fan, I bought their, it's just a black shirt, but it's embroidered, actually embroidered, not screen printed, which is nice.
Yeah.
That has the Jimbo symbol embroidered in white on this all black shirt. And it looks really nice. I wear it almost too much to the point where I have to think for a second if I want to put it back on for the upteenth time because I don't want to ruin it.
Right.
So
yeah. I love the art style of the Jokers too, and the planet cards are so cool. Oh my god! Did you shit when you opened the fucking planet card pack for the first time and you got the Spectre planet card that upgrades all your hand types? Holy fucking shit! I was like, oh my god, that's a thing?
Yeah, I really started to appreciate the planet cards a lot more in those packs after that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'm always trying to target just like one kind of thing, like 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, flush, whatever I happen to be going for. But once I started getting some of those, I'm like, oh fuck.
Well, that's why you got to get the astronomer card that makes sure that whatever your most played hand
exactly will
is
always be in that.
Is always in the planet card.
Exactly. Some of the fortune ones can be kind of bullshit, but I've learned there's a couple that show up in those packs that kind of make it super crazy worth it.
Yeah.
Like they'll just give you fucking hologram cards or whatever. Or make a Joker a hologram or a negative card.
Yeah.
Those are always really great.
Those are nice. Yeah. Because it's one thing I haven't quite figured out how to break the game open enough in terms of like getting more Jokers, like because it's like the getting a negative on your Joker is
fucking awesome.
It is. It's also difficult. But when it happens, that's the best.
Yeah. For all of our getting a negative Joker, being able to apply a negative to a Joker allows you to have another Joker because you're only allowed so many of these Joker cards. But if one of them's negative, it doesn't count towards your total amount of Jokers. So you can effectively get another Joker to fill that slot while still maintaining the one you already have. Nice. Super, 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 super insanely helpful.
Yeah.
Anytime I see a blind where it's like, oh, you're guaranteed a negative Joker, doesn't matter what fucking Joker I end up getting, I don't care because that's effectively a free Joker. That doesn't count against you, even if it's a shitty Joker.
Well, and even if it's
so if I have to skip the blind to get a guaranteed one, fuck yeah, I'm doing it.
And even if it's actually antithetical to what you're doing, those are worth more too if you need to sell it. So. All right, so I guess Game of the Year for the first annual Games that made us GTMU game things game awards is Balatro with a runner-up of Sea of Stars.
Well, now I'm just trying to think of a good what should we call it? Gamies.
Games. GTMU games.
GTMU.
We're exciting.
It's got the dovetail of 2024 award.
The Inside Baseball Award.
The Inside Dovetail.
Inside Dovetail.
Inside. Yep, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. The Inside Dovetail 2024.
Hang on. The first annual Inside Dovetail Awards. There we go. That's getting
so stupid.
No, that's not stupid at all. That's excellent. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys again for listening to our inane rambling. If you like what we're doing, check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Discord. Come yell at us on there. I hope you all had a wonderful new year, and we will talk at you soon. Bye.
Da 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 da